Om Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam tam sujivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamsha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी ऋषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे जय श्री कृष्णा चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंदा हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे मुकुं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्य ईश्वरम् Hare Krishna. Thank you. Sorry, the room is also occupied and the class was going. So I thought.
Took the chairs and sat down there.
Sorry.
didn't see the message.
No. I realized it. I didn't see you here either. Now, okay, I'll just wait here so that. So thank you for joining. I'm going to put it in. Remind me again, what is the verse we are studying? 25?
28.
28. Okay. Okay. Beautiful. So I'm going to put it in PowerPoint and I will share that here. I will put it this way so that you both can also see. Is this okay? Is this visible?
Yeah.
So we'll start with the prayer. You all can hear me as well. Is that right?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Just give me 1 second. We will connect this as well. Huh. Now it is okay, bro. We'll connect this. No, I don't want to change it now. That's okay. Don't worry about it. We will do.
Nobody's there. We went long ago. See, they know, right?
Ah,
We weren't
okay.
there.
Okay. Just give me 2 minutes. Okay. We'll be there. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. Thank you. Sorry for the inconvenience. Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, beautiful. I'm going to change this as well. Okay, and then I'll pull that there. Let's see if it connects. Screen mirroring. Doesn't show up there. Let's see. Huh?
Yeah,
It's connected.
it's connected. Next time we can do the Bluetooth so that you don't need to put the cable all the time.
Okay, beautiful. Showing a different window. I don't want to mirror, so just give me 1 second. Okay, I'm going to put this PowerPoint. Yeah, you can see in this plan. Is this good? Well, I think it is mirroring. Oh yeah, I don't want mirroring. Give me 1 second. Sorry, just trying to figure out extended display. It is extended display only. Um, okay, let's try this. Showing PowerPoint now, right? Okay. Yeah, it worked finally. Yeah. Okay, thank you. I'm going to share the screen here as well. Can you see it now? Okay, wonderful. We are on 3.28. We'll start. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
We are starting 3.28. Tattvavittu Mahabaho.
Tattvavittu
तत्त्वतो
Mahabaho.
महाबाहो
Guna Karma Vibhageyaha.
Gunakarma
गुणकर्म
Vibhagaya.
विभागयोः
Gunaguneshu Vartanta.
Gunaguneshu
गुणागुणेषु
Vartanta.
वर्तन्त
Iti Matva Nasajjate.
Iti
इति
Matva
मत्वा न
Nasajjate.
सज्जते.
So just to connect the dots together, last week we were discussing about we think out of ahankar, out of false ego, we are the doer. In every action which we perform, we think we are the doer, at least the good parts. So when the good things, when the results come good, then we say, "Oh, I did it," and then oh my goodness, that's such a tendency. And then if the results are not good, we blame on God. Why did you make this happen? Right? So that's a tendency. So in this, don't want to get into that section, but the idea we talked about in the previous verses, false ego is actually making us think that we are the doer. But actually, everything is done by three modes of material nature. That is what we covered last week. So it is continuation from that one. We will read 29 as well, and after that we will connect these dots together. So 3.29, very important. Prakirtir guna sammudha
Prakrti
कृते
Guna Samudha.
गुणसम्मूढा
tajante guna karmasu
Bhajante
भजन्ते
Guna Karmasu.
गुणकर्मसु
tan aks tan akstra vido mandan.
Tan
तान्
Akshras
कृत्स्नान्
Vidam
विदो मन्दा
Mandan.
Excuse me. Krisva vinna vichalayet.
Krishna
कृष्णाविन्ना
Vinna Vichale.
विचालयेत्
Now we are talking about the connection between 3.25, 26, and from 26 to 29. That is what we are talking about. So what we spoke in 25 and 26, if a person in knowledge is expected to set an example, we remember that is the right. Then why don't they set an example for renunciation? The answer is most people are not qualified to follow the example of renunciation. Very difficult. Even when in once in 2 weeks we have Ekadashi coming every 15 days. Very difficult to actually do Ekadashi thinking that I will not eat or I will not drink or whatever is the limited things I can eat. If an attached person renounces worldly responsibility, he will eventually try to fulfill desires through irresponsible means. And that is a problem because the ego is so strong Now I am under the eyes of other people a renunciate, but I have my desire. So where will I go? I can't change my this thing. So now you do things secretly until you are caught to actually then creates a chaos. And this is one of the biggest problem in religion, or biggest problem in spirituality. And that's why some people want to become atheists, because when they see wrong example, what's the point in following that? But we see an example. If I go to a doctor, if I'm sick, the doctor did not cure my disease well, does not mean I will not go to any doctor anymore. That's not how the principle works. Yes, there are certain examples which may not be good, but that doesn't deny that spirituality itself is rejected. So that's the point. So now when we see from text 30, 26 to 29, the common theme here is how a detachment relates to a man in ignorance. This is what we briefly started last week. So what does he do? He does not agitate their minds attached to fruitive activities. If their faith is there on devatas, and their thought process is that if I will pray God that everything go well in my life, in terms of I get money, I take care of my health and everything, it's okay, we should not break their faith, at least they are on the path. So there is a yoga ladder which we talked about. So there are still people on the path. They may be in first grade, second grade, or third grade, but at least they are eventually going to the 12th grade from that path. Versus the people who are not on yoga ladder altogether, who are atheist people. So we don't want to discomfort their faith or break their faith so that they get out of the yoga ladder, and which is very difficult for them to bring it in. We cover that. And not induce them to stop work. Engage them in all activities for gradual Krishna consciousness. Now one may say, should we follow the gradual path or should I directly? Because right now what we are practicing is we are practicing Krishna consciousness, which is actually ultimately the highest one. There could be again levels on that in terms of the purity, in terms of the faith, because it's all about faith. Difference between people or different religious people, the difference is the faith, how much faith they have. In this regard, there was um, there was a guru, and then there was a disciple, and disciple wanted to cross the river. So the guru, did I say that story before? No, okay. So the disciple came to the guru, my dear spiritual master, I want to cross the river. Can you tell me how do I cross the river? Because there is no boatman here. So he gave him the mantra. You chant this mantra, you will walk on the water. So he had a firm faith. He walked, and to his surprise, he actually crossed the river walking on the river. And he went on the other side of the river. And the guru saw it. Now Guru got confused. Hey, does this mantra really work? You're with me so far, right? So he started chanting this mantra and started walking. In the middle of the river, he started again more doubting on the mantra and immediately drowned. So it's not about who knows the mantra, it is about whether we have faith in the mantra, whether we have a faith in the process. So various degree or various commitment spirituality comes from how much faith I have. Some people had the faith from their previous lives because they went through to like we talked about, wherever whatever level of Krishna consciousness or spirituality practice, we start from there. So when they come in this life, they directly start from there, right? So that's one thing which we covered. Now, what is the end of all Vedic rituals, which is 326 we covered, is all Vedic rituals are meant for understanding Krishna. That is the ultimate goal of life. So those yoga ladder people are there. Ultimately, whatever they are doing is for the pleasure of Krishna. Even they think about, I am offering this to devatas or these demigods, but ultimately everything is being offered to Lord Krishna. That is what is covered. So what is the definition of manda, which is from 329, and what are their activities? This is the section we are starting on. So manda means lazy people. A lazy person who is too much attached to the bodily consciousness without the understanding of spirit soul. When we talk about the laziness feature, there were three friends who were actually sleeping in the house, and then they were so lazy, the house got on fire. So they started feeling heat. So the first told the second guy, "Hey, can you switch on the fan? It's just getting really hot." The second guy said, third guy, and third guy said, "Why don't you go and stand up?" And they roasted on that one. So the point of being laziness is what is being spoken here, their activities. What they do is they accept bodily connection with others as kingmanship, land of birth as an object of worship, and formalities of religious rituals as the end themselves. There was a king. It's there in Srimad Bhagavatam. His name is King Rahugana. This king was a very opulent king. So one day he was going from his kingdom to somewhere else, and he has to cross through the forest and all. So he was going in a palanquin, and four people were carrying the palanquin. One guy got very sick, so he wasn't able to carry. But to carry the palanquin, you need to have all four people. So they started looking in the forest. King said, "Find out if any hefty man is there." So they go and see a person. His name is Jada Bharat. We spoke briefly about him in other past time where we talked about spirituality is never lost. So now this is his third birth. First was the Bharat Maharaj. He remembered the deer. He became a deer in his next life. And now when he died as a deer, he took the birth as Jada Bharat. Jada means manda, which we're talking about. Not lazy, but foolish. He would behave that he has no knowledge. People will not look at him. He will be a crazy person. So they saw him and he was very well built. So he asked him, "You come and king is asking you to actually support." He did not know anything, he just went there. Now he was so sensitive even about the ants crawling on the road. So while he was carrying the palanquin, he would look down, he is not putting his feet. And all of a sudden, when he would see, he would stop. But the other three people will keep moving, right? So it will create a jerk for the king. So he called, "What are you doing?" He became angry to all the four people. He said, "It's not us, it's just this foolish person who's stopping all of a sudden." And king became angry. He said, "If you don't do properly, I'll kill you. Do you know who am I? I am the king." Anyway, he didn't respond, and they started walking. Again, after a few minutes, he saw ants, and then he stopped, and then again this happened. So king got down, and he said, "I will kill you. You don't understand what is my position." So Jad Bharat, very interestingly, so far in his life, never spoke a single word. This time he said, "Who is king? Who is the subject? Is all varied by time. In this lifetime, you are a king, and I'm your subject. In next lifetime, I may be the king, you may be the subject. It is all about time." This king was a little spiritualist, so he realized he's saying something special. I felt he's just a jad guy. He doesn't know anything. He's a foolish guy. But he started speaking, and then he inquired, "Can you tell more about it?" So he gave whole spiritual knowledge to the king, and king became his disciple, Jarbharat, and he asked him what to practice in the life, not being attached to this. And the king actually practiced, and he ultimately attained the goal because Jarbharat also went back to Godhead. So, such people, when we talk about accept bodily connection with others as kingsmanship, land of the birth, as the object of worship, and formalities of religious principle at the end in themselves. But they don't realize it's all about time. You know, for us, Prithvi, like the planet we live in, we take birth, we grow, we become young, we become old, and then we die. Some people even die before that. So that is a sequence. But devatas on higher planet, for some of them, our 1 year is like 1 day. So they live for millions of years. Like for example, how much is the life duration of Brahmaji? 3,100,000,000,000 years. Imagine these zeros we even regret or we struggle to count, and that is his life. But what happens in Devatas? You never see there are hospitals in heavenly planets. You never know, you never see that these Devatas becoming old. So what happens? When their karma finish, when their position, which is given whatever time, they immediately leave that body and take the next body. They don't have to suffer through like we do. Based on our karma, we suffer. For them, they get the benefits, and then after that, they go to the next body. So ultimately, all it is all about is we are not the controller at the end of the day. Whether we are devatas, which we can do piety and may achieve the heavenly planet, but we still can't control our end destiny, which is what is being spoken here. So, how the devotees are more kind than the Lord. This is very beautiful, very important section. The Lord recommends that for such people, spiritual realization is a myth. I'm talking about those foolish people. For them, So what should we do? One, try to agitate materially engrossed person, but that's not good, right? Because if they are materially engrossed, at the end of the day they are going to die. So what the statement mean is, you try to give them the path, you give them the suggestion that this is the path we have to go, but some people are very difficult, they cannot actually come to that platform. So such people have to be left out. Better to prosecute one's own spiritual activity. Such bewildered person may be engaged in primary moral principles of life, being nice to everyone, don't do anything bad to it, like as non-violence and similar materially benevolent work. But devotees know the heart of the Lord. They undertake all kind of risks to engage ignorant man in Krishna consciousness. Prabhupada is taking to the next level. When Srila Prabhupada came here, why Srila Prabhupada's position is considered to be such a high level? Not that because he came from Vrindavan. Of course, he was a saint. He is a saint and he came from Vrindavan. And he came from spiritual world. But the ability to transform very sinful people is what actually is the more glorious part. Srila Prabhupada, where did he come? He came to Bavri, which is considered to be the lowest region of New York. And he transformed those people to become devotees. Where the government, the police were struggling not to even go in those areas, Prabhupada went there and transformed these people's heart. This is such glorious because it's a risk associated. When you read, there is series of book which is called as Prabhupada Leela Mrita. The success is what we see, but what goes behind the success is sometimes not identified or not known to us. So here the whole series of even what Prabhupada went through are defined there. Prabhupada is living in, because this is New York and we all know how expensive is New York. Even in those times when we talk about 70s, you can imagine even at that time it was extremely expensive. And for a person who does not have a money, where will he stay? So Prabhupada had few disciples. So they arranged, because Prabhupada used to do, even today when you go to New York, you go to Second Avenue, there is still that storefront where Prabhupada started this movement. ISKCON haven't possessed that property, but they still keep renting that because this is monument for all of us. So they find out one devotee or one person who actually became Krishna conscious. So they identified him saying that Prabhupada, he's alone, why don't you stay with him? So this guy was again happy. He was drug addict, but most of them were drug addict. But he did not leave his addiction towards drugs. It happened to an extent he wanted to kill Prabhupada. Now imagine at the age of 70, you come to America, taking so many inconveniences, this brutal winter, and coming from an Indian body who does not even have enough clothes to actually cover, how difficult it would be for him. Walking on the snow, just running a whole program, irrelevant of whether it is like you all came. Similar thing, Prabhupada would run this program every week without fail, and actually every day to the storefront. And not only that, can you imagine however number of people would come, Prabhupada would go buy vegetables and everything needed. He would cook alone. He did not have anyone to help. He would cook, and on top of it, when these devotees will come to hear the class, Prabhupada would serve each and everyone with his hand. And American standard, you eat and then you leave. Which means Prabhupada has to clean all the plates and everything, all the vessels. Are a 75 year old person. Why? Why he has to struggle so much? Only with one desire that I want to take risk and give these ignorant people about what is the goal of life. You see Prabhupada's movement when these people, some of them are still there, and when we hear what is they're dealing with Srila Prabhupada, so amazing. They are so grateful to Srila Prabhupada. Their heart pouring, their eyes filled with tears when they talk about Srila Prabhupada because they feel he was our father. These people, why they become drug addict or whatever, because they were left out, were rejected by the society, rejected by his family, rejected by everyone in the society. But they found Srila Prabhupada. So there was one person, and I want to speak about this because I just felt this is very connected. People would call him Pigpen. Means this guy was so foolish. He would pass in his street and he would never take a bath. He came across Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada would preach and he would come. One time he went in There was a toilet and he changed the toilet paper. He brought the toilet paper and put it in and then left from there. And devotee was like, what is this guy doing? But Prabhupada actually was very grateful to this person. So when he came, Prabhupada, all the devotees throw him out. Prabhupada said, no, don't throw him out. Let him be here. That person who was literally mad did not know how to do. That he person shaved his head, committed to the whole process, chanting 16 rounds. And this is he himself telling how he became a devotee. This is the heart of a devotee, carrying the compassion within their heart. Shri Radha Gopi Janal Bhagwan ki jai, Nitai Pari Rapan Gaur Hari ki jai. Same Shri Radha Gopi Janal are there within our heart as Paramatma. But the devotees are even more merciful because they are willing to take a risk to come to your place and come to your standard and bring you up from there. This is what the transformation is, right? So this is what the section talks about. Any questions before we move to text 30? All good? Okay, text 30. Mai sarvani karmani
मयि
मयि
सर्वाणि
सर्वाणि कर्माणि
sanyasadhyatma chetasa
त्यागदत् चेतसा
nirashi nirmamo bhutva
निराशे निर्ममो भूत्वा
युध्यस्वा vigata jvara.
युध्यस्व विगतज्वरः.
युद्धस्वविगतज्वरः
Who can read the translation?
Yeah, I can.
Go ahead, Mami.
Therefore, O Arjuna, surrendering all your works unto me with full knowledge of me, without desires for profit, with no claims to proprietorship, and free from lethargy, fight.
Thank you. Remember where the Bhagavad Gita started? Krishna is on the war field. He doesn't want to fight because when he sees his relatives on the opposite side, he thinks, how can I kill my relatives? So Krishna now again reminding him. And what was the first question he asked in the beginning of this chapter? Should I take a tyag? Should I take the path of renunciation or should I perform the action? Krishna elaborately explained, not that he just gave an answer. What is the quality of a leader? Quality of leader is not to just give an answer, but empowering the other person to come to that platform. Leader is the one who makes other leaders, not that who always leads the subjects. That's the key thing. But the leader is a person who makes other leaders. And through this process, Krishna elaborately empowered Arjuna with systematic answers about why the path of action is more important. He went through whole example about the people again connecting all these things together. So initially Arjuna saying it's better I will go, and Krishna is clarifying without the you cannot take up the path of renunciation without acquiring the knowledge. And one acquires the knowledge by performing action, and then you come to the platform of jnana. Now when you come to the platform of jnana, what is the significance? What do they do? These people still perform that action. Why? Because they want to set up an example. So not that you think now I'm on the jnana path, which means I don't have to do any work. I will just go to the forest, or I'll go to the holy place and just stay there, and people will think this Babaji is there. No, you still do your activity as to set up an example for others to follow. When you do that, and we took an example about Janak Maharaj, we take an example about Krishna. So he elaborately explained about it. Then he came to the third section, which is specifically mentioning about what are the symptoms of such people who do not want to follow this path, and how the intellectual or not intellectual, the intelligent person here in spirituality, how he deals with those devotees. Spoke about it. And now in this case, what is Krishna telling? That you surrender all your work unto me. Because as long as we have that creator or proprietor or enjoyership model thinking that I am the doer, then unfortunately we are also the result. Whatever result comes out to, we are supposed to reap out of it. But when I offer it to Krishna, Arjuna's thinking I'm going to kill, which is sinful, but because he is doing as an instruction or as a reciprocal to Krishna's instruction, then he is not incurring sin. And that is what is being spoken. So Prabhupada writes, but before we go on 30, what is a link between 29 and 30? While the while the past several verses have stressed Nishkama Karma Yoga, detached work, the next verse describe Bhakti. Nishkama Karma Yoga is a stepping stone to Bhakti. And that is what the verse 30th is talking about. What exactly is bhakti is all about? That one performs every activity in remembrance of God, not just offering the results to God, but even while doing the work, I'm remembering God. And what does Krishna recommends in 30? Discuss the stage of Bhakti Yoga, which is recommend to work exclusively for Krishna and teach others to do the same. What is our current condition? We are Mishra Bhakta. What is Mishra means? Mixed devotion. We have certain Karma Yoga mentality, we have certain Jnana Yoga mentality, and we are approaching towards Bhakti Yoga. But what is being discussed here is for a person who's exclusively doing everything for Krishna. This is very important. And not that we cannot do. There are so many examples in scripture, even performing material duty, people are actually highly spiritual and highly Krishna conscious in every activity, which is very important. So, what you should do? Surrender all your work unto me. What is the meaning of surrendering all your work unto me? Remembering whatever is happening is by will of God. Because the same body, when we die, does the intellect work? Can I create something out of it? For an example, a software or a car or anything. I can't even do anything when I'm dead, which means whatever is the Paramatma there, because of that and because of Atma, I'm able to perform certain things. Otherwise it's impossible. Like I was just my son just went for, he said I want to go for sliding, so I took him to this park. He said a beautiful line which I was just thinking about. He said, Dad, how Krishna is so grateful. We have a car and at least we have a heating inside the car. We don't feel cold at all. Yeah. Realizing everything in our life is is mercy of Krishna. Because of him we are able to do anything or everything. And what is the consciousness of devotee? When I see certain devotees, when I talk to them, so many examples actually in front of me. You tell them how is life, Krishna's mercy, everything is fine. Everything is in connection with Krishna's mercy. Like I was just thinking about it. One of the thing, I'll give you some water, probably.
No, I'm fine.
When 2015 is the time when she was identified with this disease, which doesn't have a cure. Till 2022, she left. Not a single day there was one thought coming to her mind: why me? Why it is happening to me? It's very common, to be honest. When we are following the religious path, and when we come to our highest path understanding, we may not be at that platform, but we are practicing. Yeah, I'm trying. Why it is happening to me? If Krishna gives me a good health, I can do it better, isn't it? Like if we have a bad health, we know we cannot do much actually. Right, Prabhu? When you are just having hiccups, it's very difficult to even think about any work, what to talk about remembering Krishna. But when our health is good, we don't realize that. We never complain. And I just remember that part. This is such a beautiful aspect that you, not that only good things in life you connect with Krishna, but not thinking about what you still be grateful. And with full knowledge of me, remember that I am not the doer, without desire for the profit, with no claims of proprietorship, and free from lethargy fight. Not that when you come to spiritual platform you become lazy. That is another trick of Maya. Because a lot of time what happen, people come to, they will leave every work, and now they're saying I am spiritual now. And they stop doing anything actually. They become lazy, which is not what has to be done. And that is what Krishna is talking about. So again we cover that surrendering all your work unto me, free from lethargy, fight with no claim of proprietorship, without desire for profit, and with full knowledge of me. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada says the highest level of self-realized work is pure devotional service. What is it? Highest level of self-realized. So after all the yoga, ultimately highest work is devotional service. And above it, ritualistic religion or dutiful work for purification. So what is the focus of learning? This verse indicates the purpose of Bhagavad Gita. One should practice spiritual life as a military discipline. Our temple president, who is not here, he's in India now. Um, every day for more than 25 years. Every day waking up, coming for the morning program at 5 a.m. for 25 years. Not a single break. This is military discipline. And we know it says, what is it? The more you sweat in, what is that saying? The more you sweat in the practice, the less you bleed in the war. It's not a practice, it's something else is there. That's a saying. Which is, if you are very vigilant and very careful in your training, in military training, the less you bleed in the war, because now you have all the fundas and all principles said when to be very careful and all this stuff. That's very important. So a spiritualist is like that. He follows spirituality as a military discipline. What I will not deviate from that. And why such a difficult mood recommended? Duties must be carried out with dependence on Krishna as a military discipline, because that is a constitutional position of living entity. Eternally subordinate to supreme law, living entity cannot be happy independent of cooperation with supreme lord. This is very important. In this material world, cooperation is very much needed. At work, even sometimes we don't like our boss. Sometimes such some of the co are very difficult. It happened to me multiple times and multiple times. But I have no option other than to cooperate, because I have to continue my life that way. Not it's very easy to escape. Oh, I will just quit and then find out. But then there will be someone else in the other job who will be a difficult person at that time. And that's how this life is. Sometimes even things go fine, but in certain part of our life or certain duration of afterlife, some other people come in. Like I remember my previous company I used to work with. I said if I have to retire, I'll retire in this company. Exceptional company. And I worked for top class companies like Microsoft, but I felt the work culture was great. One fine day, the CEO did something wrong. This guy was laid off or he moved out all of it overnight. Another guy came in. Everything changed. Everything changed all overnight. This guy came, he brought in some policies that started laying off people, which was not the culture by the previous CEO at all. However contaminated that person would be, but they will keep people whatever happens. So many recessions came, but they will never fire people. But now most of those people are not there in the company. They left. So what is it? The life, the time is very powerful. Anything can happen at any time. We can't say things will go fine. And what is the meaning of Adhyatma Cheta? One who fully is Krishna conscious and depends solely and wholly on Supreme Soul without personal consideration. So what last one? What is the path of liberation? Which is recommended in conclusion, act according to Varnashram Dharma. So Varnashrama, we say Varna and Ashram. Varna is Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya and Shudra, and Ashrams are Brahmana, sorry, Brahmacharya, Grasta, Vanaprastha, and Sannyas. So these were laid out by Krishna. But now when you keep Krishna in the center, then it becomes a Daivi Varnashram Dharma, which can be practiced in today's time. We cannot practice the actual Varnashram Dharma anymore because it's contaminated by people's thought process. Right? So I'm going to skip this. Now the important section is the fruits of obedience and rebellion to Lord's authority. So far we understood Krishna gave the instruction. Now, what is the result of people who are following that? And what is the result of people who are not following it? Now, this is important because there was one sorry, I'll just take some water. There was one father who used to drink a lot and he died. He had two children, or he had two sons. So one person asked, will you drink, to the first son? He says, of course, yes. My father drank, I will also follow. And same person asked the second son, will you drink? He says, of course not. I saw what is the result my father went through. I don't want to get into that. So when we hear philosophy, or even when we see from these things perspective, buying anything, we want to see reviews, what people have to say after they use that, what changed their life. Same way for the doctors, when you want to know doctors, which doctors you want to see, and you want to find refer, hey, can you tell me, I want to find out a dentist, can you tell me based on your experience who is the right person? Because you always count on what people are have to say, because they have gone through the similar thing, right? Similar way, even spiritual life, one has to know Can you, okay, I heard this philosophy so far, but what is, if I follow, what will happen? If I do not follow, what will happen? And this is Krishna elaborately explains as a beautiful leader that what is the repercussion of not following and what are the benefits of following. So with that, text 31. So any questions online? You all are with me, right? Just making sure.
Yes.
Yes, yes.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you. Yame matam idam nityam
Yamimatam
Idam nityam
nityam
anutishtanti manava
anutishtanti
anutishtanti
manava
manavaha
shraddhavanto anusuyanto
dhavanto
श्रद्धावन्तो अनुसूयन्तो
anuyasyanto
मुच्यन्ते ते अपि कर्मभिः.
मुच्यन्ते अपि कर्मभिः
Now Krishna is telling Arjuna, you do all this for my pleasure. Any volunteer for translation?
I can take.
Please.
Those persons who execute their duties according to my injunctions and who follow this teaching faithfully without envy become free from the bondage of fruitive action.
Beautiful. So now this is first Krishna is giving what are what are the benefits or what are the cherries you will get if you follow. But he's saying the people who actually execute their duties according to my injunction, and how do I know where what are Krishna's injunction? Clearly laid out in Bhagavad Gita. For an example, if I get the driving license in Michigan and I'm driving on the street, which is the speed limit is 70, and I drive at the speed of 85, a cop catches me, say, I did not know the rule. Well, hold on. Before getting this driving license, you gave an exam. And in that exam, all the questions were answered. For an example, if you are driving in a residential area, you should know what is the default speed limit. And you follow that. Today we have Google Maps, but earlier they were not Google Maps. So you can't wait for the sign to come 25. But you know, based on these, if I drive at the speed of 40, I can't say, oh, I didn't follow. Hey, I already gave you a manual. You can't deny now that saying that I did not know that because the manual was given. So similar way, Bhagavad Gita is a manual already given by Krishna, and one who follows that manual and who follows the teachings faithfully without envy. This is a very important thing. What is one root cause of our fall down from spiritual world? Envy. We were very happily living with Krishna. No issues, no problem at all. Everything is going good. Hey, why everyone is only looking at Krishna? Nobody is identifying my beauty. Nobody is talking about me. Nobody is talking about my intellectual. Nobody is talking about me with that everything. The moment you start thinking about it, you are envious. I want to be the supreme. I want to be the center point of attraction. Fall down. And then when the soul first comes to earth or whichever planet it comes to, very pure. But then slowly the contamination gets developed. Like for an example, if the house is there, at least in India here, I don't know how much, never close the house for years, but in India, if you close the house for a couple of years, then when you go, it's filled with dirt. The dirt does not get deposited just over a day. It keeps depositing, keep depositing. Similar way, our consciousness gets degraded more and more. Right? That's an important part. So one has to practice without envy and become free. And what is the result? One becomes from the bondage of fruitive action, which means you do not incur any karma. So what is the practical application of 31? One's ability to advance in spiritual life is directly connected with his faithful and non-envious acceptance of Krishna and his teaching. I'll give you one example. I came to Krishna consciousness and I would hear this philosophy. And then they talked about Krishna this, Krishna this. And Krishna would speak. Actually, there is a 10th chapter which is going to come where Krishna is going to talk about Vibhuti Yoga. That's the chapter entitled. And whole chapter, Krishna is identifying the best and he's assigning himself as part of it. Like out of all the elephants, I'm Aravat. Of all the mountains, I am Mount Meru. So of all the animals, I am lion or a tiger. I forgot the name. But basically, he's hiding because I had that envy and I still have that. Hey, why is we don't like someone calling himself? We feel proud, and I ask this question. And my Shiksha Guru who was preaching me, he taught me very nicely. He says, if a CEO comes and tells, hey, I created this company, I created these divisions, you don't say that he is proud because he is the creator, he is the this. So here Krishna is not telling it being a proud person. He unfortunately he actually created, like from that perspective, not unfortunately that way. He created. So if he's talking about what's wrong with it, similar thing. So where the things happen is the envy. One of the ladies spoke, and she asked a question to one of the guru, why do you have Srimati Radharani on the altar? So Maharaj is really jovial. He said, what is your problem? He said, no, Krishna never married to Radharani. He wants to get, there should be Rukmani here. He was very, very surrendered. Why don't you go and ask Krishna? I don't know. You ask him why is Srimati Radharani? Because such people do not understand who is Rukmani. She's an expansion of Srimati Radharani. Srimati Radharani appears in Dwarka as hers. So the question is for such people that the thought, no point in talking about that because their consciousness is so low. Then second question, she again continued. Why did Krishna marry 16,108 wives? Maharaj again answered, why don't you go and ask him? He said, and then he said there are so many sins. So Maharaj asked her a question. So to feed his wife, did Krishna take were you the provider of maybe 100 wives of Krishna? Like their food will go, like their breakfast, lunch, and dinner will go from your house? She said, no. What is your problem? Reality, right? Did Krishna come and ask to you that you provided? I got married so many wives, I can't feed them. Now you bring the food. Nobody is coming and asking you because that person is not at the level where we can philosophically talk about why Krishna married 16,000 women. Because they were taken by Narakasur, and Narakasur, earlier times, the lady who actually goes away from the parent, she cannot go back. Even if she is just there at a certain place with someone like Ravana. Mother Sita was just there, and someone said, oh, Mother Sita is pure. But they doubted, and Lord Ram had to ask her to go to Agni Pariksha. Not that he has to do that, he knows about Mother Sita. So they cannot go back. And they requested Krishna to marry him. And Krishna married. Nobody talks about that. I don't know about that. But when I don't know, how can I ask these questions? I have to have a clarity in terms of what has to be done. I remember I have pending. I told you 14 reasons Krishna gave. I'll send to Karna. I'll send you that. I found it and I'll share that with you. I just remembered on that part. So that's the pending item. So the devotee or the person is non-envious and he acceptance of Krishna and his teaching, zero doubt. I was just sharing in my other class. We have one devotee in our congregation. So our temple president one time was giving the class. She's attending the class for first time. She was so mesmerized by the class. She said, how can I grow? And the temple president said, you start chanting 16 rounds. Next day, without a doubt, she started chanting 16 rounds. It's a commitment. 16 rounds, all of a sudden, commenting, which is minimum 2 hours, you are committing. And she's a teacher. So she's committing without having any faith. Zero doubt. She's the one who actually did the dressing today. So when you see the devotee, you understand. Because the devotee is bhakti, the heart, is manifested on whatever they do for Krishna, whether they cook for Krishna or whether they actually dress Krishna. Yesterday was the disappearance day of one of the guru who was disciple of Srila Prabhupada. When he would cook and the devotees would eat, they will go mad in spiritual love because he would just pour out in that. There is another pastime which happened in Prabhupada's time. Srila Prabhupada one day, it was yesterday itself actually, his guru's disappearance day. So Prabhupada made khichdi. And then like I said, Prabhupada would cook and the devotees would eat and Prabhupada would serve them. These devotees, when they ate that khichdi, and this devotee is telling after 50 years of Prabhupada's departure, he's telling this pastime, he said, when I ate that khichdi, my eyes were just crying for name of Krishna. Everyone there said that I don't know what is that love I have developed for Krishna. Because Prabhupada put his love and affection towards Krishna while making this khichdi and offering to Krishna. And that manifested in the form of love and then entered into the heart of those devotees who are eating. Very important, very important. So even if one is not at the stage of devotion, like it mentioned in text 30, at least I am not there. As long as one is sincere, faithful to the words of Krishna, one will ultimately qualify for pure devotional service. What we give an example about Brigrari, we give an example about Ratnakar, who became Valmiki. He was told by Narada Muni that you chant this mantra. Not even Ram, he asked him to chant Mara. He had a complete faith. And what happened? He was chanting not the name of Ram, he was chanting Mara. He became Valmiki. This is faith. When one follows the instruction of the Guru and teachings of Guru Sadhu Shastra, in this Shastra, one attains perfection without doubt. But when someone does not have example of that guru who could not cross the river, when does not have a faith, for that person there is neither happiness in this material world nor in spiritual world. So that's an important aspect. Text 31 purport I will quickly cover and then we will chant one on together. Truth of Krishna consciousness is eternal. The injunction of Supreme Personality of Godhead is essence of all Vedic wisdom and therefore is eternally true without exception. It is not that Bhagavad Gita had only relevance to attract all of you. I put the title Modern Application of Bhagavad Gita in Modern World. But Bhagavad Gita is applicable even in 21st, 22nd, or 30th century. That is the power of Bhagavad Gita because these are teachings of God, not any self help books here. That's the difference. Bhagavad Gita without faith has no benefit. I read it, oh, lot of philosophy is there. I'll just read it as a philosophy book. No, there will not the change happen in your heart. But when you accept Krishna as a supreme and you realize, same example is there. When the patient goes to the doctor, at least I was told by the doctor himself. He said when the doctor gives the medicine, half of the cure is done whether the patient has belief on whether the patient has a faith on the doctor or not. If the patient doesn't have a faith on the doctor, the medicine, however powerful it would be, it will not work. But if a patient has a faith on the doctor, even if the medicine is not to an extent, then that will happen. In this regards, I'll tell a story. So there was one lady who went to the doctor, and then she told the doctor, yeah, I have frogs in my stomach. Doctor said, the frogs don't enter in the stomach. She said, no, 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 I know it, it's there. Trust me. Doctor gave N number of exercises, nothing happened. So he said, okay, next week we have to operate. So she said, okay, she came for operation. And then after the operation, the doctor brought some frogs and showed her, saying that, oh yeah, you were right, you were frogs. See, I told you there were frogs in my stomach. And now I feel bad. Now I feel better, because that's the problem. When we don't have a faith and we think about, I know what is my problem statement, then even doctors, this will not work. And then he has to actually prove it out, whatever you think is the right thing. And that's an important aspect which is there. So their destiny never gets liberated from the bondage of fruitive action because they do not have work. In this case, you see a person is reading self-help books without understanding how actually Bhagavad Gita is so important. Just reading it for the sake of reading will not make a transformation. So we will continue 31 next week as well, 31 and 32. Actually, let me cover this and then 32 is the next one. Can I just take the slide? Yeah. So there was a sparrow who laid her egg on the shore of an ocean. And she went in search of the food. And when she went in search of the food, she saw the eggs were not there. So she was searching. Eyes was there. He said, the ocean took your eggs. So the sparrow stood up like that. Ocean, if you do not return my eggs, I'll dry you. Ocean started laughing. Hey, you are a little sparrow. I'm an ocean. You, there is impossible situation. How many? The sparrow started taking a drop, putting it outside, taking a drop, putting it outside, taking. And ocean was laughing. million lifetimes, even if you do that, you will not dry me. He was laughing. While Sparrow was doing that, Garuda was there. Garuda saw the sparrow sincerely trying, and he was inspired by her determination. He came to her. What is happening? And she told the story. Garuda is the carrier of Lord Vishnu. Ocean, if you do not give the eggs, I will dry you up. Now Ocean got fearful because Garuda can drink the whole ocean with one sip. Gave her eggs back. What is the moral of that story? She had a faith and she was determined that I want my eggs back. And that attracted the mercy of Garuda, who is the carrier of Lord Vishnu. When we take up spiritual life, when we take up with determination, my dear Lord, I know you are here, standing right here on the altar, and you are looking at me thinking about when will I come and have in your association. And you are understanding that I'm struggling so much. Krishna smiles. Srimati Radharani smiles. Can I have this devotee with me, please, Krishna? Can you arrange that this devotee was trying so hard? Can you bring him or her to me? And Krishna is pleased. That's the whole crux of spiritual life. My dear devotees, without determination, nothing is possible in this world. And when we show with determination, Krishna, whatever happens, I will not give up. That is a true mood of a bhakta. Just thinking about my wife, I'm just sharing because she used to be my wife. She is not my wife, she is a pure devotee because she went back to Godhead. But in my relation, I'm just putting it that way so that we can connect. Never give up. Whatever happened, she chanted 16 rounds. I will chant for Krishna's pleasure. Whatever has to happen, anyhow going to happen. But I want to sincerely practice what am I doing. That pleases Krishna. Wow, this person is trying in spite of being in difficult time. This person is qualified to come to spiritual world. Because he's not complaining, she's not complaining why this is happening to me. Well, I can't chant because I have this thing, I have that thing. One has to have that determination that my Lord, I want to do it for your pleasure. Not we everything in our life is about me, my pleasure, what I like to eat, what I like to drink, what I want to do. I want to do this activity. I want to become out of the selfish mentality to come to selfless. Don't want to think about me again and again and again. My Lord, I want to do this and offer it to you. My life is designed for you, my Lord. Only this line. My Lord, I am yours. This line, if you say, Krishna is sold out to you. Can you imagine this line? Krishna is sold out to you, willing to do anything and everything just for your pleasure. Only one line. Lord, I am yours. That's the purpose of life. To come to this platform and calling, my dear Lord, I am yours. With that, I want to end here. Any comment, any discussions we want to bring in?
I got curious learning about Karna.
Mm.
So you both were talking a little bit of Karna, right? So one of the information I got one of the Telugu person from Andhra, he posted about Karna. Apparently, Karna had a meeting with Krishna, and he told him that, look, my mom abandoned me, and she's trying to protect other kids and keep me away from her. He keeps talking about all his issues actually. Start saying,
Problems. Yeah.
so the problems. So the only one good thing happened is, association to the Duryodhana, right? This is what he says. This is not a fair life. When Krishna returns back and says, look, I was born in a place where I smell cow dung every day. That's where I was living. My uncle was trying to kill me. He's after me. He was going after me to kill. I have to escape. My mom, I'm separated from mom on the first day. You have issues. I also have issues. We have to choose. We have to choose what
How
is
to respond.
how to respond, how we have to live. So your choosing of going to Duryodhana is not right, right? That's basically he's trying to say. This is not a right way of doing it. So if you win, if Kauravas win, there is possibility you will be the most famous person,
Yeah.
right?
Hmm.
In my case, if I win, there's nothing again. Everybody will say that Krishna manipulated and did it. So I'm not getting anything out of it. So he kind of says, you have to live where others should feel that I am born and I feel really good that I met this person. That is how you need to actually
Very nice.
practice. It's beautifully well crafted, but I couldn't forward that Telugu one.
No, which is fine. Srikant Prabhu, do you know about Sindhu Tai?
Sindhu Tai, what's the last name?
No problem, Prabhu. Sindhu Tai is the name. That is a homework for all of you. Go on the internet and find out about her background.
Sindhu Thai.
Yeah. Just make a note.
Is it the Thai is the same?
TAI, Sindhu Tai.
Mom.
Yeah, Tai is the mom. That's a Marathi word actually. And then when you go there, she's a lady. I wanted